Okay, so tell me more about these herbs. Do I need to refrigerate them or can I just leave them on the shelf?
Well, actually, these are plants.
Okay.
They may be in a different form, and as you know, plants love water.
Yeah.
So the refrigerator is actually a moist atmosphere. Not a good idea if you're going to be doing this. So you want to keep them in a cool, dry place. So they'll stay in the powder. If they start to absorb water, they'll clump. You'll have like a solid mass, and it'll be hard to take.
Yeah, and if that does happen, you can just pound the herbs until they get more back into their powder form. But we find a lot of people that live close to the ocean in high humidity environments, and if they don't totally seal the bags, that the moisture will absorb into the herbs. But generally speaking, yeah, cool, dry place.
So is there like a shelf life in the cool, dry place? Or they can stay there for...
Indefinitely. These
Really?
probably have a 3-year shelf life. Yeah.
And I, if I had herbs that were extracted herbs, which these are, 5 years. I would take them after 5 years. They're still going to have a good, strong energy to them. But generally speaking, if you haven't taken 50 grams of herbs within a couple months, you need to start taking your herbs.
It means you're not taking them.
Yeah, it means you're not taking your herbs.
Long.
Exactly. So take your herbs.
Okay, so with food or on an empty stomach?
Yeah, we get that question all the time, food or empty stomach. Tonic herbs are actually foods, and these are concentrated foods. It doesn't really matter if you take it with or without food. Generally speaking, I like to take my herbs on an empty stomach because I don't want them to sort of compete with the foods for all the receptor sites. But take them with food, empty stomach, not too much of a difference really.
If you have a sensitivity, if you have a sensitive digestive system, or if you haven't taken tonic herbs before, you might want to try them with food in the beginning.
Okay.
But, the best way is probably by themselves.
Is there any kind of foods that I shouldn't be taking with them?
No.
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 And we do get a question because a lot of people are on Western medication.
Right.
And we recommend that you take your herbs away from the medication by about at least an hour or so, I'd recommend.
And then are there times of day that they're better to be taken?
Well, that all depends on what you want the herb to be doing. If you're going to be taking chi tonics, which is obviously to boost your energy levels, right? You don't want to take it at the time of day when your body is actually going into a rest state. So you'll take your chi tonics in the morning or in the early afternoon. You can take Shen tonics anytime you want to. That's, it's appropriate whenever you want. Jing tonics, usually in the early morning or in the evening, especially if you're taking yin jing tonics, because that's in the evening, that's the time that the body is actually replenishing and nourishing the organ systems and doing its detoxification. So you'd want to do it then.
What's the dosage for each of the herbs?
A lot of that is specific to the individual. I mean, if you're a 110-pound woman, you're going to have a different dosage requirement. I knew you're 110 pounds. You're going to have a different dosage requirement than a 220-pound guy that's going to the gym.
Right.
But if you're taking one formula, if you were to do about a teaspoon, that's going to be a couple of grams, and that's a good dosage of a formula. If you're mixing 3 or 4 formulas and 1 or 2 other herbs, you obviously want to do a little bit less of each of them because you're making sort of one big formula that's going to have maybe 4 to 6 grams of herbs in it. But at the end of the day, your body is going to find the correct dosage for you.
Can I mix the herbs together?
That's a really easy thing to do. I mean, you can make so many different kinds of form. What you're doing is when you mix the individual herbs, you're putting a formula together. So depending on your intention, and there usually is intention when you do this, okay, that will determine which herbs you're going to mix together. But tonic herbs all blend really well together. They play nice.
Yeah, an analogy I like to make is when you're cooking a soup or a stew, you can put the carrots with the onions, with the celery, and add whatever meats you want, or proteins, or tofu, or whatever it is, and just sort of how you're feeling that day, you can mix and match, and they all kind of work together because they're in the same sort of category of these tonic food-grade herbs.
Yeah, and usually the result is greater than the sum of the parts. When you put these herbs together, there's a synergy that happens that really raises the energy level.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.